What's up? I'm Cotton. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm so glad you decided to check out my video. And if you're a returning subscriber, I'm so glad you decided to watch this video. I'm going to be talking about Twin Peaks Part 3 and Part 4. How fast did this go? I don't know about you guys, but for me, these two parts, I watched them back to back, of course. They went by so fast, which was part of the fun. So if you don't want to hear about anything in the episode of spoilers or anything like that, you don't want to watch this video. Who doesn't love David Lynch as Gordon Cole? He is the best. It was so fun to see some, see our familiar faces again. Yes, David Duchovny. I was so excited to see him back as Denise, who is now head of the FBI and who we didn't know was actually undercover FBI in the DEA. All sorts of undercover stuff going on, lots of it. Some interesting things that take place in this episode. Electricity is a theme, and it's kind of as in theme, I mean it appears throughout the episode, and it also appeared throughout Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. And that was the blue color of electricity and its effects. Conductor. Well, we know electricity is a conductor. You're like, yeah, we know that already, Cotton. Okay. Well, it's also a conductor and for the Black Lodge to get Coop out. So good Coop is out. Is he a little off? You bet he is. Someone's been doing some shenanigans, I'll tell you that much. I think Bobbleganger created Dougie Jones. What about you guys? Because those people that were gonna put like the hit out on him, I think were probably hired by Bobbleganger. I mean, who else would want him dead? Because we know the two cannot survive. They can't both be there. No, and Bobbleganger, of course, knows this. So it is very interesting. We learned some interesting things. We also learned that before Coop disappeared, he talked to Albert about who the man in Colombia is. I want to know who the man in Colombia is. Who is this person? How does he fit in? What's his part? Harvey Jeffries is the character that was briefly shown in Fire Walk With Me, played by David Bowie. Well, obviously David Bowie isn't going to be reprising the role again for obvious reasons. We know from Part 1 and Part 2 that Bobbleganger had been communicating with Harvey Jeffries. So I really don't know I mean, what's all that about? What is going on? We know that Harvey Jeffries disappeared and is probably like in the Black Lodge. But where is he now? We never really saw him. We didn't see him in the Black Lodge. There was just the parts of him hinting to being there and the imagery with Fire Walk With Me. And you know what? If you're a musician and you're cast out in the Twin Peaks universe, there's a good chance you might disappear. Yeah. Think about it. Chris Isaak disappeared. Chet, David Bowie disappeared. Eddie Vedder, who knows? You may be disappeared in the universe of Twin Peaks. Who knows? David Lynch knows. That's who knows. So I get so much enjoyment out of seeing him play Gordon Cole, play Gordon, and Gordon has all these funny eccentricities that are just so fun. When Bobbleganger was trying not to go into the Black Lodge and not like puke on himself, that was that Garbangozia. Am I saying it right? I hope so. That was that stuff that I think he was throwing up. The sorrow and suffering Garbangozia. I don't know, the arm eats it. I don't know how the arm's gonna eat it now because he doesn't really have a mouth. When the police found him in the vehicle, it smelled really, really bad. And I would think something like that would smell just horrible when you think about it. If it's all a bunch of pain, sorrow and suffering and stuff like that, that's gonna smell. It just makes sense to me. And then, then we see Dougie Jones, who, I mean, first of all, we know he's created, and what happens to him when he goes to the Black Lodge, and Mike explains that whole thing for us, but who created him, and who came up with that really bad hair? Ugh. With some ugly looking hair, wasn't it? So there's some way that he was created, and that is so interesting, you guys. This person has been around for 25 years and apparently is married and has a child, but he's not even a real person. He's just created. And His wife is totally oblivious. My gosh, I don't know how she could not notice that her husband's acting totally weird. And you know, poor Coop, he's just not getting cut any slack, is he? No, well, except for being Mr. Jackpots, which that whole scene was entertaining. That was very fun to watch. Hello! I think it's still because of the electricity being the kind of like the conduit and the conductor, that he would see the black flash above the slot machines that would hit the jackpot, that were going to hit a jackpot, because he still had some of that electricity going through him, and those are electrical machines. They're run by electricity. That's my theory on how he knew that they were going to be jackpots and why he was seeing the black flash, because there was that whole thing going on with transitioning and black flash coming to take people and releasing people. So that's what I think is behind that. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I would love to. We can talk about it down in the comments. Only really person that seemed to like really have it together was the real estate prostitute. I don't know if she is a real estate agent, but I just kind of like to call her the real estate prostitute. Who was like, he may have had a stroke, here's $5, ask for help. She was the only one that kind of had things together, it seemed like, because, you know, obviously something is wrong with him. He can't talk right. He doesn't know anything. You know, Coop hasn't been in a physical body for 25 years. So it is going to be kind of hard to get used to walking and talking and eating and everything and doing all of that again. Probably because, you know, you're just not used to being in a body. He's not. He hasn't had a physical body in 25 years. That's a really long time. So that's why I think everything with him is slow and it hasn't come back yet. It's going to be fun to see it come back. I really do think it is going to be really fun. And these 2 episodes made it just look like there was going to be a whole lot of fun going on. And also, it also seemed like when the Bobbleganger was in custody at the same prison that Ray is in, I don't know what's going to happen there. You know something that's going to happen there. I think we're going to be seeing Ray. Did you notice he seemed to not have as much power in his physical ability and just in general? Like, he looked drained. Like, his communication skills were really, really poor. And he kept saying the same kind of thing. Kept repeating it. And it was very odd. And like, as Gordon Cole said, it doesn't get more blue rose than this. And no, it doesn't, because that is not Agent Cooper. That scene was very interesting between like all of them talking. And it just seemed that Bobbleganger didn't have a real grasp on didn't have his bearings. He seemed discombobulated, if you will. He did. He seemed a little discombobulated. He seemed a little kind of out of it and not really in charge of everything, as normally as we've seen him in the other scenes in parts 1 and part 2, where he's very much physically in demand of the scene and just really kind of this really strong presence. And he didn't have that in part 3 and part 4. And I found that really interesting for him to not have that. It's like he's losing his grip. He's trying to grab on and hold on as tight as possible as he can to this body and stay here in that world. And I think that because he's the wrong one, that's got to, you know, set off something, you know? It's got to make it harder for him to be there, because there are 2 of them and there's only supposed to be 1. So like they said, one of them is going to have to, they can't exist together. So one is going to say goodbye to the other one. One of them's going to die. That's inevitable. Of course, we don't want it to be the real Coop, because we all love we love Coop. How perfect was the casting of Michael Cera as Andy's, as the son? How that was so funny, as Wally Brando. That scene had me in stitches. I found it absolutely hilarious. And just the way he talked, everything. I was a little bit nervous about seeing him cast in this show, but I was like, when I saw him sitting there on that motorcycle like that, I was like, never. I take anything I ever said back about that. He is perfect. He was so perfect. I loved that scene. I thought it was really fun. And I think Robert Forster is a great addition to the show as well. He has a nice presence and a very no-nonsense type guy. And of course, I can't forget about Bobby. Bobby's a cop now. Which, in retrospect, kind of makes sense for Bobby. You know, with a character like Bobby, who has been rebellious, it's usually because he doesn't feel in control of his life and he needs stability and rules. So for him to go into a job that is about stability and rules kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me. It really does. And also he did look up to his father. His father, you know, was in the military, so maybe he wasn't cut out for the military, but he'd rather go to be, you know, part of the cops. And I think he likes living in Twin Peaks. And that was really, really sad, though, when he just broke into tears seeing when he saw the photo of Laura Palmer. It really was sad. And it was really funny that Lucy ate one of the chocolate bunnies. Oh my goodness. Lucy and Andy, what a couple. When Hawk tells them that there's something missing and it has to do with his heritage, that was just, that scene of the three of them going over the case files was pretty funny. And it's also interesting when we find out that Cooper visited with Bobby Briggs' dad before his father died in a mysterious fire. We saw Major Briggs' face float by and say Blue Rose. So I'm sure we're going to probably see something to do with him again and find out exactly what all has gone on, because I want to know. I'm sure you guys want to know too. You know, I'm just so stoked to see these new upcoming episodes, and I want to see where it takes us. And I'm very excited to see where it takes us. And it's interesting because now, if you notice, it ends at each episode is ending at the Roadhouse with a different band, which is very different from the original series. There was like that one singer that was always there. Now it's different ones. And it's interesting too that they decide to end on that location every time, because that place, everything warms up, the colors are warmer, there's the more earth tones again, and it reminds us of where the show started, you know? And I think that's a great way of achieving that it brings everything back to the beginning by ending it there. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to end on that note. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, why don't you go ahead and do that. And if you are a subscriber, I'm so glad you decided to watch my video. I'll be taking notes. I didn't really take that many notes this time because I was like so wrapped up in it. So I'm going to do better about taking notes than for the next parts. Okay, and why was there a dog leg? Okay, why does Doppelganger have a dog leg? What's that about? If you have any ideas about that, let me know, because I'm dying to know what the dog leg is for. Like, why did he have that in the trunk? I mean, I know I probably had the drugs and the machine gun, but the dog leg? I'm enjoying the ride. I don't know about you guys, but I'm totally enjoying the ride of Twin Peaks: The Return, and I cannot wait to see new episodes. And I can't wait to talk about it more with you guys. I'm Cotton. I'll see you in the next video. I'm done talking. Bye.